into consideration when you help clients to set goals. Okay. So before that, I'll show you a brief assessment form. So this is an assessment form developed by one of my professors. Um, so what are the skills in each stage? Like if you see right side of that assessment form towards, like it is rated on, each skill is rated on 1 to 5. Okay. Uh, the descriptors on the higher end, they indicate that you're having good skills. Okay. On the descriptors on the lower end indicates that probably you need to skill develop. So just basically what I want you to do is I want you to just focus on descriptors of each skill. So those are the skills, or those are the aspects of that skill that we need to develop. Okay. I'm just presenting. I'm not gonna talk much about it. You're able to see. So responding skill. So welcoming and attending. So if you see on the right side, being warm, friendly, making the person feel comfortable. If you're able to do that, then you're good at that skill. Solar, that is sitting squarely, open posture, leaning, eye contact, relaxed. So that is solar. If you're able to establish, or if you're able to exhibit all of those things, then you are good at that particular skill. So yeah, so this is probably stage one skills from third to seventh, and stage two, confrontation, advanced empathy, information sharing, self-disclosure, immediacy, encouragement. All of them are part of stage two. Stage two, and this is probably from goal setting. Okay, so we are going to talk about setting goals, helping the clients to set goals that are meaningful. So basically, the kind of goals that the client, or we need to help the client to set, are the ones they help actually solve or manage their problem. Okay, if the goal is not relevant to solving their problem, it is not meaningful. And second thing, it should be able to develop opportunities. Okay, so problem managing and opportunity developing goals. Then something that they can commit to accomplish them. So it's not only setting problem managing and opportunity developing goals. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. And they should be able to commit and accomplish them. Okay. So like most people, they like, if you look into the mirror, you would not like the way you look, or probably the amount of weight that you had put on. Uh, you might say you might want to look better. Okay, but we still make a decision to continue to be like that. So just having the intention is not enough. Okay, and working on the goal is very, very important. So we look at certain aspects of goal setting. The first thing is, what is the benefit of setting goals? Okay, uh, first of all, setting goals is part of everyday life. Okay, we all set goals every day, day in and day out. Okay? And even not setting a goal is a form of goal setting. Okay, not setting a goal is a form of goal setting. You're not wanting to do something. Okay. So then there are, sorry, that is not over goals, that is overt goals. There are goals which are overt. Okay, there are goals which are covert. That is, like even though if the client is not having goals that he is stating, it doesn't mean that client does not have goals. There are goals which are covert. Sometimes we also call them default goals. Okay, so there are overt goals which, like basically, as a part of counseling process, you help the client to state those goals outside. Okay, probably you call them overt goals. And even if the client is not having or not showing up or not stating anything, it doesn't mean that client does not have any goal, but they are having covert goals. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. And they are also called, and these goals either are like, I mean, as I said, they have covert goals, but not every goal is life enhancing. But we are mostly interested in the goals that are life enhancing. But there can be also goals which are life limiting. So having an understanding of to be able to differentiate life enhancing goals versus life limiting goals. Okay. Basically, what do these goals do? They basically help client to mobilize. The moment you start talking about goals, they get energized. They mobilize resources. They keep thinking about how can I move towards that goal, which means they mobilize their resources. So basically, goals mobilize their resources. Uh, they get us moving, and so basically having a goal regulates your life. If you are not having a goal, you don't know where you are moving. So it brings some form of self regulation into the process. Okay, so they are critical part of self regulation system. Goals are important part of self regulation system. Okay, uh, so and also goals empower uh, clients. Okay, how do they empower? By helping them focus their attention what is important for them. Like there could be a client who is talking about what trauma he had gone through, and he's getting stuck in that place, like how unfortunate he or she is. Like for example, as a counselor, you might ask him, let's say, if you could have one thing you don't have, what would it be? Okay, the moment the client says a friend, for example, so there is a focus now. Okay, it brings some focus, so it focuses their attention. Okay, uh, and it also, as I mentioned already, it mobilizes their energy by directing their effort. Okay, like even clients who seem uninterested when initially discussing their problems, usually they become more engaged when talking about their hopes for a better future. Okay. For example, clients in long rehabilitation programs, they usually show a lot of lack of motivation, lack of cooperation. Okay. Like there are clients I have seen, like after certain experiences, hearing some like religious guru speaking or visiting a temple. Okay, they started saying that I have decided uh, that God and God not pain will be the center of my life. Okay, the God given life is center of my life, not the pain. So this is what I want. The moment they make a decision, it is the beginning of a new commitment, right? So it actually mobilizes their energies. And I have seen, once that thing has come in, that they said that they explicitly stated that this is what I want, I have seen people actively engaging in exercises, like actively engaging in therapy process. Okay, so goals basically mobilize their energy and direct their efforts. Okay, and goals also provide incentives to the clients to search for strategies to accomplish them. Okay, like a client who decided after some like a health scare, like he thought that he had a heart problem, then he was so discouraged, and but then later he realized that it is not really a heart issue. So then he decided to again, like he stated that I want to live again. He was in the depression, and the moment he started thinking that he wanted to live again, he started to thinking, how can he make his life better? So he joined in a small club because he wanted to find friends. So he decided to quickly go and join, and he found at least two friends there. So it provides incentives for clients to search for strategies to accomplish them. When he wanted to live life again, that itself became an incentive for him to try to, how can I live my life again in a better way? Okay. And also, the if the goals are clear and specific, they help clients to persist. Okay. So clients with clear and specific goals, they are not only energized to do something, but they also tend to work harder and longer. That's what the research proves. Okay. If the goal is clear and specific, they are more likely to work harder and longer. Okay. And clients with clear and realistic goals, they don't give up so easily. Whereas, like research shows, client who has vague goal and with no goal, they are likely to give up quickly. See, I mean, even in our life also, people with a sense of direction, they don't waste time in their time in wishful thinking. So it is good to have a sense of direction. Okay. So we need to help clients move from possibilities to choices. I think you had discussed about possibilities in the previous session. So there could be multiple possibilities. Okay. But they cannot work on all those possibilities. They should be able to make choices. Okay. So we need to help clients move from possibilities to choice. Okay. So only when they make that choice, they can turn them into program for constructive change. Okay. So a small case vignette is given here. It is taken from Egan's skill helper model itself, but it's slightly modified. Rani, a young woman in India, was arrested after angrily breaking windows in a bank because she felt denied a loan due to being single mother and from a lower caste. So talking with her counselor, she realized she often gets very angry and that her outbursts at the bank led to negative consequences. She also noticed she takes out her anger on her friends and children. Okay, so this is the issue. So she often gets angry, and whenever she perceives there is injustice, whenever something is unfair, she loses her temper. The way she expresses her anger is clearly the problem, right? So we need to find out what are the possibilities here. So basically, what the counselor did, the counselor suggested four ways to deal with her anger. Okay, you learn to vent your anger, or you learn to suppress your anger, or repress your anger, or you learn to channel your anger in a constructive way, or you learn to ignore it. Okay, but having the possibilities itself is not enough. Those possibilities must be acceptable to the client, right? For example, uh, for Rani, giving up is not an option. Okay, and if she vents, only venting is making her more angry and had negative effects. Okay, and repressing is also like a kind of looking like giving up only for her. Okay, so then she decided to explore channeling her anger. So how can she channel her anger in a constructive way which is not destructive for her?
Games,
Sorry.
participating in games like stress busters.
So very good, like you nicely pointed out one thing, but I wanted to say, is it gonna solve her problem? Yes, that is definitely one option. I can channelize my energies into games. But is it problem relevant? Okay, what happens
Yeah.
to this injustice that she uh, faced or she perceived? You're getting my
She
point.
can
It has to.
ask, excuse me,
Sorry,
for
yeah, go ahead.
doing yoga, asking her to do yoga or meditation so that it will be health wise benefits to herself and so that she'll control her anger too.
See, those options probably she has not taken. Venting, repressing, ignoring. Okay, probably she had. Let's say she had not taken it. She had taken channeling. So one thing that they came up was, so she joined a community organization focused on addressing social and financial injustices. Okay, this allowed her to channel her anger constructively without losing her values or intensity. Okay, see, whatever we suggested are options, but are these options acceptable for the clients? Are they in line with their values? Okay, that is also very, very important. So we cannot force them to choose options that are not in line with their values. Okay. So she discovered she was good at influencing others and making positive changes, which made her feel better about herself and less overwhelmed by the system. So this is also related to doing something about the problem. It is addressing that injustice as well. Is it clear? So you might have various possibilities, but what possibility is more meaningful to you? That is something that is very, very important. See, these goals can be highly motivating. Okay. But it is important that we need to help clients set realistic goals. Okay. It has to be realistic. And goals are to be stated in terms of accomplishments or outcome, not in terms of activities. That is very, very important. Okay. So here, what is the outcome in this goal? So channeling her anger is the process. Okay. That is the activity. Okay. But the outcome is becoming active
Influ-
participant in that group.
Making
Okay.
positive changes in others.
Yes, yes. So basically, to be able to be part of active participant in that political action group, which brings positive changes or which strives for, let's say, social justice. Okay, that is an outcome. So if you just talk in terms of action or activities, there is no outcome. The strength of those activities becomes again directionless. Okay. So there are certain guidelines in helping clients to set goal for themselves. Let's look at those guidelines. Okay. The first thing is goals must be stated as outcomes rather than activities. Okay. Like a girl who is feeling controlled by her father. Okay. Who is not allowing her to pursue her career. And there is some kind of negative interaction that is going on with the father. Let's say she might choose that I want to talk to her. Sorry, I want to talk to my father. Okay. Now, is talking to father an activity or outcome?
It's an activity.
It's an activity. What would be the outcome?
Solution to her problem in this
Ah,
case.
yes, yes.
No, solution to what is that? Outcome. We have to state that in terms of outcome. Maybe
Father
that,
agreeing, father
sorry?
agreeing to her wish.
Okay, father agreeing to the that wish. Okay,
Or
but again,
he is
there is again a possibility that he might not agree. Okay,
or they'll come
Ah,
to
yes.
uh,
a
so the
understanding.
basically her larger goal can be like I want a place in the relationship which is probably where we each other we all of the family members respect each other. There is a mutual respect. Okay. So I want that kind of a relationship. That kind of a relationship is my outcome. That's why I want to talk to. So talking to my father is a means where I can achieve that outcome. It's not just one activity, but it is going to lead to a larger outcome, a broader outcome. Okay. That they start to respect me. They start to respect my choices, where we can relate to each other in the context of mutual
Hi.
respect. Okay. So that is,
Malini is
yeah. So again, this the goals must be specific enough to be verifiable and specific enough to drive action. Okay. So probably let's say that girl needs to have a clear idea what this relationship would look like. Okay, like she might see herself like a negotiating a different role within the family and pursue career outside the family business, not just limiting herself to the family business, but she might want to go outside and explore her own careers, her own interests. Okay. And it must be substantive and challenging. So basically, it's not just talking to them, getting them to see her point of view, but beyond that, that she wants to be a full partner in decisions that are being made in the family. That she wants her to be taken into consideration in everything that goes on in the family. She wants an active role. So that is substantial, right? And again, it has to be substantial, but at the same time, it has to be prudent. Okay. That is, let's say that family is conservative. They hold on to those values, their heritage, their personal culture strongly. That their family doesn't accept women to go out and work in certain professions. So this client should be able to consider those things into account as well. Okay. So like she should be respectful full towards all these cultural heritage or role like her father's role in the family. She cannot be what do you call not paying attention to these things, but at the same time she must balance it with her own career and her own social aspirations. So that is what prudent means, that she needs to be wise. She cannot take very big decisions there, okay, which can break the family. Okay. So you need to see whether the goals that you are developing has all these characteristics. Okay. So again, it must be, the goals must be realistic with regard to the internal and external resources needed to accomplish them. Okay. This is very, very important. So now she wants to talk to her father, but does she have the skill to talk to her father? Does she have that emotional bandwidth and ability to control her emotions, still like hold on to that kind of conversation? Whether she developed those skills, that is also necessary. Okay. So you need to look at whether the client has resources, external as well as internal resources, in order to execute that goal. Otherwise, he or she is bound to experience failure. Okay, and which probably would lead to again frustration. So it should be realistic and it should be sustainable over a reasonable period of time. Okay, that is, if she's trying to talk to her father and expecting a like active role in the family decision making process, like that she should be able to believe that she can handle the impact that what she is going to have outside, like outside the family business, the career. uh, uh, she should be able to handle its impact on the family dynamics. Okay. So it might alter certain family dynamics, but she should be able to hold on to those things. Like if she is somebody who cannot handle it, what happens is the moment she takes it up, she notices these changes, she would probably give it up quickly. Is it sustainable? So sometimes they get under that emotional weight of what is happening. They quickly give up on what decisions that they have made. Okay, so it has to be sustainable over a reasonable period of time. Okay, and it has to be flexible as well. Okay, you need to understand, like you can say, I want this, I want this. You should be able to negotiate and have some flexibility. You should be able to give in. If you want certain things to be accepted by other people, you also need to give in to their demands as well. So you can say, if you don't give a place for negotiation, and if you just have one thing in your mind and you are so rigid about it, that is not going to work. So you should be able to bring in some amount of flexibility as long as your core conditions are met. Okay. Am I going to get that respectable place in my family? Like, even though I give up on certain demands, if that is there, then that core condition is met. Okay. Again, as we had seen, there might be different possibilities, there might be different options, but they must be in line with client's values. Okay. If they are not in line with client's values, client is less likely to execute them. Okay. So they must be congruent with client's values, and they must be achievable in a reasonable time frame. Okay. Maybe that she wants to this girl wants to develop her career to a substantial level within a year period time. So it is set in a reasonable time frame. So basically these are the guidelines. Basically you need to see these guidelines as tools to use to help clients design and shape, or sometimes you may have to reshape their goals. And basically the research shows in general, goals with these characteristics are more likely to be turned into actions, which solve their problems, which manage their problems. Okay. So make sure that these goals are present. And we are going to also look at what are the characteristics of fully shaped goal. Okay. Uh, like in the context of flexibility.
So sorry to interrupt. Krishna sir, your mic is on. I mean, like lot of disturbances is coming. Sorry.
Okay. So a fully shaped goal is usually, okay, described in accomplishment language. As we have already discussed, it is described in accomplishment language. Okay. Like for example, I can say, I want to start doing some exercise. Okay. Is it like, is this goal described in accomplishment language? Okay. It is just describing an activity, right? I want to start doing some exercise. It is just an activity, not an outcome.
Yes, sir.
So what would be outcome? I might say, within 6 months, I will be running 3 miles or 5 miles in less than, let's say, 30 minutes. Okay. Or at least, I would also say at least 4 times a week. Then it becomes an outcome that you can measure. Like, for example, one more example. Let's say if I say, my goal is to get some training in interpersonal communication skills. My goal is to get some training in interpersonal communication skills. Is it an outcome or accomplishment?
No, sir.
Yeah, so it is not. Then outcome can be probably, I might say, uh, like I want to get trained in interpersonal skills because I want to become a better listener as a partner, as a father. Then it is an accomplishment, becoming a better listener. So
Okay.
if goals are stated as outcomes, they provide direction for the clients.
Can you please pardon the statement? If the goals are
Sorry, goals. If goals are stated as outcome, they provide direction for the clients. See, basically, if you help clients state goals as accomplishment, not as activities, it avoids that directionlessness. Okay. Again, next thing is helping clients move from broad aims to clear and specific goals. Okay. Broad aims to clear and specific goals. Like a father recognizes that because he's so much occupied with work, the relationships at home are getting disturbed. Okay. And he says that I need to do something about this. Okay. It is just a statement of intention. So we call it good intentions. Okay. He's saying that it's time for me to realign my priorities. It is just a statement of good intentions. Okay. There is no aim there. Okay. And what would be the aim? A aim is more than a good intention. It has content. That is, it identifies the area in which client wants to work, and client wants to make some general statement about that area. Like for example, this person might say, I don't think I'm spending so much time at work in order to run away from the family life. Okay, I'm not trying to escape my family life, but family life is deteriorating because I'm not just around enough. So I must spend more time with my family and kids, or I want to spend more time with my family and kids. So this is probably a broad aim, but it is not specific, right? So what would be the specific goal?
like he has to give a quality time to the family.
Okay, wonderful. Like, can we state a specific goal? Let's say, for example, if you are a counselor, the client is saying, I must spend more time with my wife and kids, right? What you can ask, tell me what spending more time with your family means, or with your family will look like.
We can
Okay.
ask him to list out the activities in which he can spend time or how much time he can give to their family on a per day basis, maybe in the morning or evening.
Yes. So basically, we are asking. He's saying basically his statement was, I must spend more time with my family. Then we are asking, tell me what spending more time means or it will look like. So then that's when he will state all those things. Okay. He might say, I'm going to consistently spend 3 out of 4 weekends a month at home. Like I don't want to work during the weekends. I give up working on 2 weekends. Okay. So, I mean, this is a bit more specific because he's saying uh, 3 out of 4 weeks he's willing to, 3 out of 4 weekends he's willing to be at home. Okay. But again, it is not specific. He's just mentioning the time. As somebody mentioned, some of you mentioned, quality is very, very important, right? So then you need to ask them a further question. Tell me, what will you be doing with all this time there? Okay, tell me what will be, basically what you're asking is, you're asking him to clearly state what actions he's going to do. Just being at home is not enough.
He can ask his family members also, Nasser, how can I spend my this time with you? How you feel comfortable?
So he can do that. Probably we can suggest that exercise if he's not able to come up with any ideas. Okay, we can ask him, would it be okay if you can discuss your idea of this spending time at home with your family? You can ask this as well. Okay, but what is the purpose of him doing this? Okay, like he wants to spend time at home, he wants to engage in a quality or he wants to have a quality time with his kids and wife. What is the purpose of this?
Maintaining healthy relationship in the family.
Yeah, maintaining healthy relationship in the family, having a good family life, right? So that having a good family life, maintaining healthy relationship in the family will become the ultimate goal, whereas instrumental goal is spending time more time at home. So there are instrumental goals, there are ultimate goals. So if the client is not aware of the ultimate goal, so as a counselor you should be able to help them, because when it is tied to the ultimate goal, when the client is aware of the ultimate goal that I'm doing this for this purpose, it actually gives more meaning to what they are doing. So because see, this is very important to let them understand the ultimate goal. Instrument goals are basically just strategies for achieving these higher order goals. So that's why you need to help clients to get the clarity about these higher order goals. Okay? And again, goal setting and evaluating the progress of goals. If the goals are clear, specific, and clear, then probably it is easy to assess the progress. But if the goals are stated too broadly, it is difficult to determine their progress and whether the client has accomplished any part of that goal. Like, for example, if I say, I want to have a better relationship with my wife, is it a specific goal or broad goal? Yeah,
Goal.
Broad.
Broad goal.
broad goal. Yeah. So, what would be more specific goal?
Maybe I want to spend more time, more quality time with my wife.
Okay, if you can specify activities and the time, okay, we want to do like certain activity together at least a few times in a week. Okay, something that would be more specific, which can be kind of evaluated. We can evaluate the progress of it, whether they are able to do that. Again, there are some points probably which might overlap. Helping the client establish goals that make a difference. Okay, goals which are substantive. Okay, substantial. Clients need goals with substance. Okay.
So these
Now,
are the
what are the goals that have a substance? The goals that can bring or that can contribute toward managing their original problem situation or developing some opportunity, they are called substantial goals. If they are not relevant to the original problem situation, if they are not bringing any change in the original problem situation, they are not substantial. Okay, so that means goals are substantial only when they are on the target. Okay, and one more important aspect in about the goals that make a difference is the degree to which they help clients stretch themselves within the limits. Okay, like because the research has indicated that within reasonable limits, the more challenging is the goal, the better the resulting performance. Okay, you need to understand within the reasonable limits, if the goal is challenging, the better would be the performance of the client. And people try harder and they attain hard goal. Again, it has to be within the reasonable limits. And the research also shows that they are willing to exert more effort. Okay. And the next thing is helping clients formulate realistic goals. I think this is something that we had already discussed. Realistic is like basically they need to have the resources to execute that goal. Okay, if somebody is in a company is not getting a promotion, or even if he got the promotion, the expected hike in the salary he did not get. So the person is planning to change. Okay, he's not happy and he's feeling discouraged there. He's wanting to change to another company or for a better role. But if the client is not having enough skills for it, okay, or financial situation at home is not permitting the client to do that. I'm just quoting some examples. So those resources are those uh, whether the resources are sufficient, insufficient, you need to help the client to assess. Okay, that is very important. And the other factor is control. This is very important to for a client to understand. Okay, there are a lot of things in a problem situation, lot of factors in a problem situation that are not under the control of client. Okay, what are those factors? One factor that is never under the control of client is how other person is going to behave. Okay, so if you set the goal, I want to change the behavior of my parent. Okay, I want my parent to change. That would be more unrealistic. Okay, rather than in spite of whether they are going to change or not, you need to learn to handle. You need to learn how to handle their behaviors. Okay, in spite of trying to make that relationship better, make them like respect you, you can what you can do is you can start developing relationship outside the family where some of your needs are satisfied, some people who can support you and encourage you. So you need to see whether the things are under his control or not. Okay, then helping clients set goals that are prudent. Okay, I think this also we discussed, which are reasonable, which takes into account, like as I discussed, like in that girl's case, where she should take into account that role of the father and the kind of position or respect that father demands in their family or cultural setup, also the kind of strong adherence to their cultural heritage, while when she is negotiating about going outside and exploring her career and social opportunities. So if she's not doing that, probably she's taking a very big step. It might result in damaging the family ties completely. At times, some clients are willing to do that as well. Okay, so but you need to help them weigh those options and helping clients set goals that can be sustained. I think this point also we had discussed, helping clients sustain the goals. And the next thing is helping clients choose goals that have some flexibility. Okay. So again, you set certain goal and you rigidly follow, even though you see there are some new opportunities that are developing. Because I decided this, I will go ahead with this. I'm not willing to change. So that is not healthy. So you should be willing to have flexibility and tenacity. According to some research, the goal should have something called flexible tenacity. Okay. So flexibility is like your willingness or your ability to modify goal while keeping intact the original purpose of the goal. Okay. Because if you are flexible, it is giving you much more better opportunities, much more better chances, much better chances. So then you are willing to change. Tenacity means like it is your ability to stick with a goal or the means that you have decided to achieve the goal, even when the going gets tough. So, a researcher by Goldwidger says that your goal should have flexible tenacity. So there has to be flexibility at the same time. The tenacity also must be present.
Sorry, sir, I did not understand. Can you please explain once again tenacity?
So
Yes, sir.
tenacity is the ability to stick to that goal. Okay, even though executing that goal, following that goal is getting tough. Okay, I'm strongly determined to hold on to that. Like
Okay.
it's not just the goal, but the means activities that are you're using in that goal. Like for example, you want to reduce your weight. Okay, now you have to control your diet and you have to regularly exercise, and you're feeling like it is painful every day to do that. So tenacity basically means you recognize that pain, but since you're so focused and determined, you will continue to do that. That is what tenacity means. Is it clear?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next thing is helping clients choose goals consistent with their values. Okay, that is very, very, very important. If it is not in line with your values, okay, you don't feel satisfied and you don't feel that that is meaningful. Like you are somebody who values relationship, your value is that relationships are important for you, but if the goal is taking you away from the relationship, probably you won't like it. Even though temporarily you might see it in a good way, in the long run you will start feeling dissatisfied. So you need to see whether the goals that they are choosing are in line or inconsistent with their values. Okay. Next thing is helping clients establish realistic time frames for accomplishing goals. Okay. So that means you may have to divide the goal into immediate outcomes, intermediate outcomes, and long term outcomes. Okay. For example, somebody uh, who was like in the counseling process, it was identified that a client is having a kind of interpersonal style called passive lifestyle or passive style, where the client allows others to take advantage of her. So she wants to become more assertive and stand up for her own rights. So immediate outcomes would be you need to change the way you think, you need to change your attitudes and behaviors. Okay. And probably that can be done in the session itself with the therapist or with the counselor. So where the counselor is not judgmental, it is an experiment where you can start doing without any fear. So that would be immediate outcome. I will be assertive with my therapist, with my counselor in the sessions. So then intermediate outcome would be probably uh, like with people outside who she considers safe, or situations that she considers relatively safe, the client might practice being assertive. Then in other situations, in a larger social context, with her peers or with her colleagues or with her teachers, she might want to practice that assertiveness. So she might decide immediate goals or immediate outcomes, intermediate outcomes, and final outcomes. So it is good to have time frames. Okay. So one particular picture that I would probably like to show you is about control. It's good for clients to understand what are the things that are in their control, what things are not in their control. Okay. So I will just show this picture for some time, and you just read it for yourself. It reduces a lot of stress if you are able to distinguish what are in your control, what are not in your control. When you recognize that, you don't unnecessarily waste your effort, try to change the things that are not in your control. Almost, I think 50% of the clients that I show this picture at some point in the therapy process.
The outer things are not in his control, sir. The past, the future, the action
Yes,
of others, the
yes.
opinions
Not
of others, all the
they are.
things.
Yes, they are not in our control. Nobody's control. Not
Nobody's
only
control,
clear.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. Thank you.
My boundaries, my thoughts, all are in his control, in our
Or
control.
our
What
control,
I
yes.
give
In
my
our,
energy to, how I
yes,
speak to
yes.
myself.
Yeah. And if you see something on the outer circle, that is outcome of my efforts. This is where a lot of confusion comes. Okay. Just because I gave my 100% effort, it doesn't mean that result will be proportional. Okay. That many children also need to understand, because outcome depends upon many other factors. Okay. So if your outcome is not successful, it doesn't mean that you are waste, because outcome depends upon hundreds of factors. But we usually expect, but I put my effort, but I did everything that I could. So what? That is what in your control. You need to understand, just because you put effort doesn't mean that result is going to be proportional to your effort. I told her many times, I explained her many times, but she doesn't understand. So explaining to her is in your control, but whether she changes or not is in her control, because that is other person's behavior. So you need to have clear idea about these things. In goal setting, the other important thing that we need to understand is there might be, like, you as a counselor, you might see uh, a goal is best. Okay, there could be best possible goal, but the client may not be willing to engage in that best possible goal. Okay, you need to understand this. See, like for example, if a couple comes and there are a lot of issues that are going on, there is fundamentally, there are differences between both of them in the way they relate to each other. But they say we don't want to go through so much of effort and discussing about that old things. We just want to focus on how we can relate to each other in much better way now. Okay, as a therapist you might feel that is the best possible goal. As a counselor you might feel that, but if they are not willing, it is okay to adapt to this goal. It's not your failure, but it is important that you respect their choice. If they are not choosing that best goal that you think is the best goal, so it is okay, it is not our failure. So sometimes we should help the clients to distinguish between what they need from what they want. Okay, there should be a balance of both the things. And sometimes you cannot change the situation, right? Like if somebody is very abusive, or some situations are not favorable, even the policies, government policies are not favorable, and it is causing you a lot of disturbance, you won't be able to change them. So that's when the goal becomes coping. I might not change them, but I need to learn to cope with them. So the coping becomes an important goal. Okay, sometimes client may not be fully aware of what goals that they have. Okay, so in the process of discussion certain goals emerge. Okay, they are not sure what they want also. So we need to take into consideration those emerging goals as well. You may not start with goal in mind, but certain goals emerge in the process of discussion. Okay, so you need to take into those things into consideration. Just because one goal seems to be what you call best possible goal, it doesn't mean that the client has to take up that goal. You might present those possibilities, but the client is the one who chooses, depending upon whether they have resources or not. They might say we don't have in us to again go back to all those things of the past and work through all of them. So we just want to work on how we can handle our relationship currently. So you should respect their choice and help them deal with it. Okay? Yeah. So you should be able to distinguish needs from wants. Uh, Help clients consider adaptive goal, even if it is not the best possible goal. Sometimes scoping has to become an important goal, and also need to take into consideration second order changes. Okay. So basically, second order changes are changing the underlying system. Okay, it's not the symptoms, but what is the underlying system. So some clients might be willing to work on even what are the underlying issues. Then you have to consider that as well. So that is why this heading, what kind of change do clients need and how much? Somebody might want second order change. Somebody might want symptomatic, what do you call, dealing or symptomatic relief. So you need to take their wishes into consideration. Is it clear?
Sir, how
I think
can
Second order challenge goals, sir, once again.
second order
Second order change
challenges,
goal. Hmm.
like as I gave an example, couple doesn't want to go, like I discussed with the couple and they are part of my therapy sessions. I understood that there are fundamental differences which started in the beginning of their marriage. Okay, there were many issues that they needed to focus. That is the main reason for their current issues as well. But they are saying no, we are not willing to go depth and work on those things. Okay, we want to work on how to relate to each other currently so that we will not have many issues. We don't have that energy and we cannot put that effort to go deep into our issues and solve. So somebody might say, no, I want to get to the bottom of it and I want to solve it. So going to the bottom is and solving those basic underlying systems is called second order changes or second order goals. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I think this is eighth chapter or ninth, I think ninth chapter this is in your book on goals. Okay, yesterday I think you had eighth chapter, I guess. Somebody
Yeah,
was
third
asking
block.
what.
Hmm.
Okay, so today we
Does,
finished this goals. Probably tomorrow we'll see the next chapter. Yeah. Yes, please.
doesn't going to the bottom of the and